Welcome to Mr. Wilson Live. We are streaming from Jamaica in the Caribbean, and we are here every Wednesday, Friday, and of course Sunday at 5:05 p.m. Today it's holiday, and most persons are having a grand time, but we know we have the syllabus to cover. As such, we have to be here. Now, in our last class, we're looking at cocaine. And we're going to be looking at that today, and we're going to be moving off into hormones. We're going to be looking at plant hormones. We're going to be looking at hormones, as it were, for human. Now, from wherever you are in the Caribbean, good evening and welcome to the show. I am very happy you are here, and I'm even more happy to be here with you. Good evening, Jawawan. How are you doing? I hope you're having a grand time over there in Trinidad. Now, if you're here, just log in so we can know you're here, locked, loaded, and ready to go. Simpson, you are here. Good evening. How are you doing? I'm not too sure, but this seems to be a new name. Are you new to the show? Brett Wade, I'm seeing a lot of new names. Shakila Lewis, how you doing? I hope that you have looked at our mark schemes on the channel. Anonymous girl. Wow, a whole lot of persons logging on. Anai is in the background, so if you're hearing that noise, forgive me. It's Anai. Anai is showing his strength. A whole lot of persons are here today. It's a good thing I didn't decide to opt out a class. Oh, anyhow, I'm very happy that you're here. Like I said, we're going to be having a great class. I'm going to try my best to ensure that we cover the lesson before the 2.5 hour, because I know that you want to go out and have some fun, play some games, and all of that type of thing. So we're going to be having a grand time. I do hope that you have been looking at the past papers and you have been putting in the required work. The exam is up on us, and if you're in Jamaica, based on what we're seeing, we still can't say when schools will be open. But of course, we have to continue to practice. For the persons who are in grade 10 doing human and social biology, I will be doing a review of the SBA shortly. Somebody had asked me earlier via mail about the SBA, and I'll be working on that to pretty much explain where we're going to go with the SBA. I know a lot of persons can't go out for the SBA, but we're going to be working on that to ensure that you can go through it with great ease. One thing that we know is that there is a paper 32 or 032, the alternative to practical paper in that new syllabus that should provide great assistance to those persons who are not too certain as to what they should do. For those persons who have been seeing our mark schemes, we've been putting out mark schemes since lately. We have some mark schemes up for diffusion. Let me remind us that the mark schemes could look different from school to school, from teacher to teacher, and it's going to be dependent on what the teacher is looking for from your school. All right, so don't be carried away that that's the mark scheme and that is how it should be. It is if your teacher decide to use the one that we're using, but of course this one provide guidance for a lot of persons. Sir, my phone was lost. Oh, Rafiq, welcome back. Shakila is here. Hey guys, how you doing? Shania Gray. I don't know if it is Otisha's sister or it is Otisha, right? I am so used to Otisha and the character Otisha. I am not seeing Tanisha. I'm not too sure Tanisha is in and out. I'm not sure what's happening. But of course, we're missing all our fans and we're happy that you're here. Please ensure that you enjoy our new study tips. We have a couple of study tips online, and we have been doing just about everything that we think that is needed for you to grow and, of course, excel in the exam. So it's Otisha. I prefer the Otisha name. I just like the Otisha character. You know, Otisha was one of the first person, and she has always been here with us. So you understand. It's like we grew together. The channel, we grew with Otisha. You know, and then Otisha changed his name to somebody else. So we're looking for Otisha. We grew with Otisha. Otisha was always here. If I'm even trying software, Otisha is here to say, sir, you need to do this, you need to do that, and we really appreciate that. So if you have not yet liked, share, or subscribe, it is time for you to do so now. And when you subscribe, ensure that you hit that notification bell so that you will be informed as soon as there is a new publication. So we're going to be looking at cocaine today, And most persons would know some person that we refer to as cokehead or crackhead. I think they tend to call it. It's a sort of unfair name and unkind name, but I'm sure you can relate to that name being given to persons from time to time. So we're going to be looking at the effect of cocaine on persons, cocaine as a drug. It has a whole lot of street names. Tell me the street names in the chat there. I want to know them. I think it's called White Lady, and it has all sorts of other fancy names. Tell me in the chat what you know the cocaine to be. I know it to be the White Lady. I know it, they call it coke, they call it crack, they call it that type of a thing. So just tell me in the chat to see how best I can be up to speed with what is on the road. I tend to be pretty old at times, and of course, can't relate to what's happening on the road. So the 8 ball, I tell you, I didn't even know that of crack. I know about crack. I didn't know that it was called the 8 ball. And I think the 8 ball has to do with food. So I need to read about the 8 ball. All right, coke, crack, 8 ball. 8 ball is new. Is there anything else? Any other name for the cocaine? All right, there's one thing we all know about cocaine, that it is dangerous. And if I were supposed to tell you before we get into this lesson, stay as far as the north is from the south, or from the east to the west. Make sure that you stay away from coke or any other drugs. Stay away. Don't try it. It is not good. All right. So we're going to up right into cocaine, and persons take cocaine for many reasons. One of the reasons persons might be taking cocaine is that it gives you this feel-good effect, right? You feel like you're superhuman. You have this added energy. You don't want to sleep. All right. You're always alert, or it seems as if you are alert. And of course, you have this confidence and power that you can do just about anything, right? And you're always going. But one of the drawback with cocaine is that it allows you to have this erratic behavior. You really can't predict what the behavior is going to be. Now, persons taking cocaine might also suffer from paranoia and, of course, anxiety. And of course, it is also associated with depression. Now, it reduces sleep. I am going to tell you my stories right after I share these with you. It reduced the need for sleep. Persons really don't want to sleep. They think they can go all night. They think they can go all day because the cocaine, as we would say in Jamaica, is talking in their system. All right, so they really have all of these added stuff, as they would put it. But of course, we're going to learn in a short while that despite it seems to give you all these first nice effects, then it's going to have some real debilitating effect on the body as you continue to consume the cocaine. Now, it is going to increase your heart rate. Now, if your heart rate is increased and this blood is moving faster and faster, then only naturally, you are going to be breathing much faster. So then you can realize that after a while, things are going to change in the body. All right? Now, there will be reduced size in the blood vessel. And it is because of the reduced size in the blood vessel, which is caused by this cocaine that you are taking, that of course causes the increase in the blood pressure. Now, with this increased blood pressure, fast breathing blood vessels might or will become ruptured. Now, when blood vessels become, of course, a stimulant, when blood vessels become ruptured, blood vessels can become ruptured 2 ways. I like to talk about it 2 ways. Because heart attack is common for most persons. I used to say like a stroke is like a heart attack in the head. But of course, they can have a heart attack in the head. So you will have a heart attack that has to do with the heart, and it's pretty much a rupture of a blood vessel, or probably the heart burst. I don't know, right? And of course, you could have a rupture of the blood vessel in the head, which is similar to a heart attack. But you wouldn't say you have a heart attack in the head. You'd say you have a stroke that is associated with the head, and the heart attack that is associated with the heart. So cocaine, like I said just now, it could cause heart attack, it could cause stroke, and of course, it is going to cause damage to the respiratory tract. So it will become damaged. And of course, you might end up dying. One of the big things about cocaine is that these persons, because of this superhuman power and because of this braveness, this confidence, they are always going, and sometimes they go beyond their mark. Going beyond their mark means that sometimes they start to, start trouble what is not theirs. We call it stealing in Jamaica. So they start to trouble what is not theirs. They start to access places that they should not access. And when this start happening, then what is naturally going to happen? They are going to be in trouble with the law. And once they're in trouble with the law, you understand that they are going to be going behind bars. And we're going to be talking more about this. As name for cocaine is isoniazid. I didn't even know that. So you have like, I'm talking now about some prescription drugs that is abused. So I just completed cocaine. I know I was going very fast, but remember, you'll get a replay of the video. Just type in Mr. Wilson Live. I think this is volume 34. Mr. Wilson Live 34 or Mr. Wilson Live volume 34, and you can see the lesson again. So if I'm going very fast, you can replay the video however many times you wish. Now we're going to be looking at some prescription drugs that are abused. The persons who are doing biology, you really need to pay attention to this. There's a whole lot of biology in the lesson today, so you need to log in and pay attention, and of course, go for the replay. So the drugs that are common abused that are prescription drugs, they include painkiller, they include tranquilizer, they include antibiotics, diet pills, caffeine, and of course, steroid. Now, these are things that persons are abusing as drugs. Remember, drugs will cause some problem with normal operation of the body. Now, persons abuse these drugs because I like to say, in some cases, somebody said earlier on, it's a depressant. Persons will abuse it because it's a depressant. Persons abuse it because they're it's a part of the social circle. Let's get this on, and a lot of other reasons. But when you stop or as you age, you will realize that all these were not good. So I have maths class. Barnett, big up yourself. Remember to catch a live. You can go on over and type Mr. Wilson Live 34 or Mr. Wilson Live volume 34. I think this lesson is volume 34, so you'll be able to see a replay of the lesson. So go on to your maths class and catch the live later. Good evening, Miss Wedderburn. Thanks for joining us. So we're going to look at painkillers and the syllabus. The syllabus has this fancy word. I'm going to spell it, and then you are going to type it in the chat. We're ready now. A-N-A-L-G-E-S-I-C-S. I'm going to spell it again, and you type it in the chat. A-N-A-L-G-E-S-I-C-S. All right, very good. Good. Now, you might have a little challenge pronouncing this word. And as a teacher, I don't know why Otisha spelled it and the system is flagging it, but that's fine. Sure. All right, good. You might have a little problem pronouncing the word, but as a teacher, it is my responsibility to show you how to help yourself. So you can go on to Google and you are going to type in that word. And when you type the word in, you can actually click to listen to the pronunciation. All right, so I want you to go on over there, not now, at any time, and you can look at the word or listen to the pronunciation of the word. Be reminded it refers to painkillers. So persons are abusing painkillers for a number of reasons. It might give a feel-good effect, or it might, of course, act as a... I'm very sorry, it's not a noisy and a little distracted here, so just forgive me. All right, good. Now, we have tranquilizers. And tranquilizers are used to treat anxiety, right? Now, persons abuse tranquilizer, and when they do, it tends to cause slurred speech, poor muscle coordination, and of course, it will cause mental confusion among low blood pressure. Now, the list here is not exhausted for the debilitating effects of tranquilizer. You can continue to read your text on these, but remember, if you're a biology student, all these are on the biology syllabus. We're going to be talking more about drug abuse as we continue the HSB syllabus, But be reminded that today we have a junction between bio and HSB, where after this class, bio will go on to growth, and I think HSB will go on to reproduction. After growth, bio is supposed to do reproduction, and we're still trying to figure out how we can tie both classes in to ensure that both classes start reproduction at the same time. Then we have antibiotics. Now, antibiotics, when persons abuse antibiotic, what will happen is that we will end up with what we refer to as antibiotic resistance or resistance to the antibiotic. So when there's a problem and you get an antibiotic shot, it just doesn't work. In some cases, persons are suffering from allergic response when they get the shot because they're abusing the antibiotic. Then there are those persons who are abusing diet pills. And persons are taking diet pills, of course, as it suggests, diet, to pretty much keep the weight on track, right? And persons are taking, abusing this pill. And when they abuse the pill, some of the things that happen is that they are going to have sleeping disorder. They are going to have pain in the stomach. They are going to have irregular heartbeat. They are going to have nervousness. And of course, it is a diet pill. So you're going to come down with some amount of diarrhea. And this list is not exhaustive. So you can, of course, continue your reading in your textbook. And for those persons who are watching the video, ensure that you go through the video again and again and again until you can remember most, if not all, of these. Then there is also caffeine that is abused. You want to read some more on that. And then there's the steroid. You would have known about sports and steroid. It's a big no-no for sports, steroid. If you use steroid in sports, then you understand that once it is found out that you have used steroid, then naturally you will be disqualified. And in some cases, or in all cases, you'll be fined and probably you'll have to do time. All right. So that brings us to the end of last class. Remember, we had a break in transmission, so we were not able to finish the content then. So we're able to finish the drug abuse side. We did not have social and economic impact on the lesson in the last class, but we have it today. So I am going to ask you now to assist me because I can't do it all alone or you will fall asleep. Remember, if you have not yet liked, share, and subscribe, it is time for you to do so now. So I suggest that you go on over and hit that subscription button and invite your friends on over. You have not been doing that for some time now. It seems as if you have forgotten. Invite your friends on over. Send the link, share the link. We need to get this class to about 50 persons. We're almost 5 months, you know. After 5 months, we should be able to get there. All right. So you're going to tell me in the chat now, what are some of the social impact of drug abuse? What are some of the fallout that you will find or have as a result of taking drugs? Type it in the chat there for me, because when you get to the exam, it's going to be a common sense thing. So you're going to just type it in. And of course, ensure that it is plausible. As you prepare to type, I will share with you the first thing, and now is the part where I'm going to get sad. You know, I'm really emotional when it comes to things like this. The first thing is that families will be destroyed. All right? So you're going to have immense depression. And the depression, it will not only be for the person who is taking the drugs. The family will be depressed, because when they bring onto the family some embarrassment. Oh, you really mean that Mr. Wilson started taking drugs? I really knew that something was wrong with Mr. Wilson. You know, he was just too much energy, too enthused. Mr. Wilson taking drugs, and then everybody that is behind Mr. Wilson, Tisha and so on, and Jawar, and those persons who are supporting Mr. Wilson, all of these persons are going to feel bad. Oh my teacher is a crackhead. All right? Drug abuse can lead to loss of jobs. You're definitely going to lose your job. And when you lose your job, it's going to, of course, decrease productivity. And of course, if you lose your job, look at the domino effect that is going to exist. I have no money because I'm not working. Then my kids can't go to school. Then it might lead up to what? Violence in the home. And then it could even go on to teenage pregnancy, or my son being exposed to violence and gang and all of that. So you see that this drug thing, it has its tentacle going really far and wide. Domestic violence, we spoke about that. Of course, you're going to have some domestic violence because this person taking the drugs, they are going to need money to get more drugs. And if they can't do it, they are going to sell and do all sorts of stuff. And then violence is going to come in. Drug abusers engage in criminal activity to buy drugs. Yeah, they're going to go far and beyond, right, to access resource so that they can get some drugs. It is going to affect the economy. But let us not look at the economy yet. We want to look at, of course, the social impact. So we say families will be destroyed. You are going to lose your friends because you start taking the drugs and you're not carrying yourself like you used to. You are now like really dirty and probably smelly and that type of a thing. And then your friends start to move away from you. I can't believe that Mr. Wilson is taking drugs. I really can't associate myself with a crackhead, right? So I'm losing my friend. Then you have delinquency, juvenile delinquency. Persons are not going to school. Persons are disobedient at school because there's problem at home as a result of the drugs. Can also lead to self-harm and, of course, suicide attempt. Of course, students will do that from time to time. I don't want to talk about some of the things that I have experienced in my practice because I might just expose that other person start doing. So I don't want to talk about them. Good evening. How you doing, D'Souza? I think I missed in the last class. I was saying that today. All right. So we will also have, sad but true, we might have persons now being exposed to prostitution. And when there's exposure to prostitution, then you now start thinking about disease such as AIDS and hepatitis, because persons might be sharing the same needle. Persons might be involved in persons who have these. Persons might be involved with persons who are having these disease, and then you know what happens. They become victim, and of course, the disease starts to spread. Now, teenage pregnancy, we said that earlier. We're going to have school dropout, juvenile delinquency, and then we are going to have strain on the healthcare system because, of course, we have to now move nurses and move resource to deal with these persons who have been exposed because we want to get them back on track into that line of productivity. Then, of course, like we said, we might have debt. So that's a long list of social issues. And let me tell you something. This is nowhere close to the end of the list of the social impacts that are associated with drug abuse. Now, let us look at the economical impact. Now, if you have not yet subscribed, it might be time to do so. And if you don't know much about the show, it is Mr. Wilson Live, and we're on here on a Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 5:05 p.m. It's a free class. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter your political affiliation. It doesn't matter your gender or your sex. It doesn't matter your religion. Just join the show and you will be fine. So we're now looking at the economical impact of drug abuse. No, sorry about that. The economic impact of drug abuse. Now, it is going to there will be cost for rehabilitation. You'll have to pay for that. There will be loss of income to families because persons are naturally going to lose their jobs. Persons are going to fall sick and just can't go into work. So there will definitely be loss of income. Loss of income to families. There will, of course, be less manpower. So you have a specialist. This person is the only person probably in your island to probably write a program or work on a particular machine, and this person become a drug addict. You understand this company has to close down and wait on somebody else to come and work on whatever this specialist used to work on. So, of course, you are going to be having some problem. Good. So we continue. Cost to solve the crime. We are going to have problem with cost to solve the crime. Sharon, I'm not too sure what I should understand from that, but good evening and welcome to the show. We're very happy you are here. We suggest that you subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. And then there will be loss of business. Can you imagine Mr. Wilson have this big enterprise and I probably employed half of Jamaica and I become a drug addict, a crack addict and all of that, and I just can't manage the business anymore. So what is going to naturally happen is that the business will start going to probably bankruptcy, close down, and persons are going to lose their jobs, and those persons losing their job, loss of income to their family, loss of income to the country. So you understand that this drug abuse thing, the tentacles, they really go far and of course wide. She's my classmate. All right, very good. Welcome to the show. And can I say a big up, Mr. Wilson, like to talk, big up yourself and welcome to the show. I do hope that you are using all the resources that we have available. And if there is something that you want to talk to us about outside of the comment, you can just go on into the back end of the channel, click on about, you will see the email address, click on the email address, it will come up and you can send us an email there. As soon as we see it, we usually respond. Usually we don't really take a long time to respond to emails coming from anyone. All right, so that was it for social and economic impact of drug abuse. Now, where are the bio students? Put up your hands. I want to ask you a question. I want to put you on the spot. The persons who are doing biology, just put up your hands for me. Let me see something from you. Say, I am a bio student. Lead to other countries. Let me see what's that. Ostracizing the country with prevalent economic and social drug issues. That is so true. All right, because they are going, yeah, that is a big thing. That's an international thing, and that is true. So you have to have things to safeguard that. Here, sir. All right, so Grace here, Grace doing bio. This is what I want to talk about. All right, good, a lot of persons. All right, beautiful. Now, we spoke about effectors and receptors, as it were, for animals or for humans. And we said that we spoke about the receptors and we spoke about they pick up the information from wherever. And effectors are going to be muscles and gland. They are definitely going to be doing the responding. Now, why we spoke about that for us, animals, as usual, we did not say much about plants. I don't know if I should put you on the spot, but I could try. What are the receptors? Can you identify a receptor in the plant? The syllabus wants you to know. What's a receptor for a plant? Anybody know maybe so? Receptor? Remember what this receptor does? All right, so a leaf pretty much is a receptor. It is picking up that information as to where the sun is. And of course, the petiole being an effector will always turn the leaf to position the leaf. Now you can recall when we did our photosynthesis and we spoke about the adaptation of a leaf for photosynthesis, that will pretty much drag your memory to the point of understanding the leaf being a receptor and the petiole, that is that little part that holds the leaf onto the stem, being pretty much an effector. So the effector will always turn the leaf in order to position it to the sunlight. Then there is what we call the apical meristem, and I'm going to be going through 3 different types of meristem, but the one that is on your syllabus is pretty much an apical meristem. But I want to give you a little more because I know you're going to be asking the question. So what causes the plant to go this way if the meristem causes the plant to go that way? So I have that information. So we have the apical meristem, and this is pretty much in the root and shoot tip area, right? They are responsible for the extension of the root and the shoot. And we're talking now about the apical meristem. Then there is the intercalary meristem. I'm not too sure what's wrong with Anna. Then there's the intercalary meristem, and this is pretty much responsible for growth that is between the nodes. And for those persons who still don't remember what is a node, the point where the leaf attaches to the stem is called a node. All right, remember that. So we have one leaf here and another leaf up here. So between those 2 leaves, it's called an internode. And you're going to have several internodes that, depending on the plant, might pretty much make up the stem. All right. So we have the intercalary meristem that is responsible for the growth of that region of a plant. Then there's also the lateral meristem. And what that does is pretty much to cause the plant to grow, increase in width. So it's going this way. All right. Now, the lateral and the intercalary, they are not on the syllabus. However, the apical meristem is on the syllabus. So you want to ensure as a bio student, you understand that. And that's for the bio students, not for the HSB students. Now, bio students, I'm going to be going through some plant hormone. And while I was preparing this lesson, I'm going to be honest with you guys. The last time I used these words like really frequent was when I was in college studying. When I went to university, I think that was the last time. I don't know that I was called upon to use these words again or as frequent as we're going to be using them. Now, the one that is on the syllabus, the popular one on the syllabus, is going to be axin. Axin, A-U-X-I-N, axin. Whatever you do as a biology student, you cannot afford to forget the word axin. Just like when you remember adrenaline as a hormone in animals, so too you should remember axin as a hormone in plants. Now, the axin in plant is responsible for the growth of a plant. Remember when we spoke about tropism, geotropism, phototropism? We spoke at length, I think it was in the lesson before, either 33 or 32. Look in volume 33 or 32 where we cover that. You will see the importance of axin. Now, axin is actually found in the root and, of course, in the shoot. Where in the root? Where in the shoot? Pretty much in the tip of the root and, of course, the shoot. And like I said earlier, these are responsible for the growth of the root and, of course, the shoot. Now, they diffuse the point just behind the tip of a root and of the shoot, and this is pretty much what propels that growth or causes that growth. So what you need to remember, the growth of a plant at your CXC level is influenced by the hormone called axin, A-U-X-I-N. We're looking at plant hormones. Now, there's another hormone, and I think you should type them in the chat there for me because I want to ensure that when you leave here, you can go and do some more reading. And if you're going to be doing biology beyond CXC, all these words are going to come again. And I don't want these words to hit you like a storm. I want you to say, oh, yes, I did that with Mr. Wilson, or I did that in class, so I remember. So the first word there was A-U-X-I-N, axin. Type it in the chat there for me. Now, your second word is going to be gibberellin. So type axin and then I'll give you gibberellin. All right, so for those persons who can remember and type fast, it's going to be Gibberellins, gibberellins. All right, Gibberellins. I realize only 2 persons typing. What does that mean here? All right, we're going to go on. We're going to go on. I don't think that is too much to ask you to type something that I have spelled for you. I think that is pretty easy. So don't fall asleep on me. I really like when you participate in the lesson. If you don't, you start to steal my energy. All right, but when you participate, it really works really well for me. All right, so please participate in the lesson so that I will have that energy, that drive to continue. All right, good. All right, so gibberellin now, I don't know if you know this hormone. It is responsible for internode growth, right? Hence, plant will grow taller, right? We spoke about the node of a plant just now. I would say that node of a plant is that point between 2 leaves, right? So where the Where the leaf is connected, that area there is called a node. And I'm going to draw a plan very, very quickly, and I hope you'll be able to. I'm going to draw it very quickly. So this here and this here. All right. So point A, where the leaf connects, that's a node, and point B, that is a node. Now, all of this area now, that will be cross-hatch, that is referred to as the internode. So you're seeing the cross-hatch area, that is called the internode, that is between two leaves. All right, remember we don't shade in biology, so that is why I cross-hatch, just for emphasis there. So the gibberellin is pretty much responsible for internode growth, hence plants are able to grow upward. Beautiful. Now I'm going to talk about one now that is pretty much close to the planning design lesson that we're preparing, that video lesson. It's called ethylene or ethylene. Let me spell for you. ETHYLENE. Type it in the chat for me, everyone. That is your participation. There's no cost to this class than to participate. That is all you need to do for this class, participate. There's no cost to it than to participate. So once you get here, start participating. That is all I require of you. All right? So ethylene or ethylene. One person typing, the other persons are sleeping. Not too sure why. Now, this is another plant hormone that every agriculturalist, every biologist will remember. And if you have ever eaten a ripe mango or anything that is ripe, a ripe banana or anything, you too will remember this hormone, because this hormone is responsible for the ripening, and I'm going to give you a fancy word now, the abscission of leaf. What abscission mean? It means the falling off of leaf. So it is responsible for the leaf aging and falling off, right? The word is spelled ABSCISSION. 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 What it means is falling off. So when we talk about abscission, we're talking about the falling off of leaf. So be reminded that ethylene is pretty much a ripening gas, or it's a hormone. Commercially, like when you see those nice banana that is evenly ripe, are you like, oh, I can't get a banana at home ripe like that, one ripe before the other? It's because they are using ethylene gas in a closed room, and because they are using this in a closed room, it allows for even coloration or ripening of the fruit. And in some cases, you see the fruit look all nice, ripe, and dandy, and it is not as ripe as you'd want it to be. Now, another thing that we need to look at is this hormone called cytokinins. Cytokinins. Some person might call it cytokinesis, but it's cytokinins. All right, and this one now is spelled CYTOKININS. So CYTOKININS. All that you need to do is to participate in the show. So you type these words when I share them with you, so that, of course, when you go back to the lesson, you can follow or, of course, do your research. Now, this is another hormone that, of course, it promotes growth of lateral buds. All right, so this hormone is pretty much responsible for the growth of lateral bud. It's not one that you will remember readily as you will remember ethylene and auxin, but cytokinins is another hormone of the plant. And once you do further studies in science, you will definitely have to cover these hormones. Now, the last plant hormone I want to look at this evening is a plant hormone that we call abscisic acid, and it is ABSCISSIC S C I S I C. And you know acid. So it's A B S C I S I C. Abscisic acid. So you're just going to add the acid to the word I spelled just now. All right, the function of this hormone is to inhibit or to promote dormancy in plants and seed. All right, so if it is inhibiting anything, or if it's promoting dormancy, you understand that it is going to affect the metabolism of the plant. All right, so abscisic, it's ABSCISIC, ACID, abscisic acid. All right, so that's another plant hormone. So we made mention of 5 plant hormones, and these are the popular plant hormones that you will be working with as you continue your study. You need to know exam if you need to know axin if you are doing biology because it's popular on your biology syllabus. And of course, you are going to love ethylene because it is pretty much a ripening gas. All right, so if you want something to be ripe, you are going to use that. And we have this PD coming out where we are looking. You can repeat that for me, please. What is it that you want me to? Oh, abscisic acid. It's on the screen. Other persons are typing. Just read the screen. All right, what I said that the abscisic acid, it affects metabolism, and that is why it's able to inhibit pretty much the plant growth or inhibit dormancy, or pretty much to promote dormancy in the seed and inhibit the growth of the plant. All right. Now there are some commercial use for these hormones, and I'm sure if you type them in Google, you can find more on it. But because it's not on your syllabus, there's no need for me to dig deep into it more than to, of course, bring them to your attention. That if you were supposed to be asked about plant hormone, you can recall that hey, the one I need to know is axin, but there are others that, of course, I can play around with. Good. So that takes us to the end of plant hormones. Biology student, that was a piece of bio for you. Now we are now back to biology and HSB, where we're going to look at the endocrine and the exocrine system. And that's going to be the rest of the lesson until we go. I think we're going very fast. I really want you guys to get out early today. So I'd ask you earlier to come to the class early. So we're going to be looking at the exocrine system first. But if you are watching out there in distant land, good evening and welcome to the show. I am really happy to have you. If you are not yet an official member of the family, meaning that you have not subscribed, it is time for you to subscribe because we are doing a whole lot of work and we want you to, of course, partake in the videos that we have out there. We have several. I think we have pretty close to 200 videos. And of course, the class is pretty much designed for the Caribbean. You can hear I speak Caribbean. I speak way, way slower than persons from the continent. All right, so it is designed for you. So ensure that you have as much of it as is possible. Good evening, and let's go. So the exocrine system, a lot of persons would have heard about the endocrine system, but there's also that which is called the exocrine system, and it is EXOCRINE, the exocrine system. Right? You can't teach endocrine system and not talk about the exocrine because the exocrine system is pretty much a useful system in the body and it deals pretty much with secretion. So the exocrine system is a duct system. Duct. Now I'm going to draw for you what is a duct. A duct is like a tube. All right. So we talk about a duct system. I'm going to give you examples. So I'm going to draw this thing. It's like a balloon with straw. All right, so let me hope you can see here. So that big circle there would have been the gland, and then this part coming down, let me label it. So A would have been the gland, and the B here would have been the duct. So A would have been the gland, and B there would have been the duct. All right. So the exocrine system, the first thing that you need to recall is that the exocrine system is a duct system. It has a duct, a tube, something like a straw connected to a balloon. All right. That is the exocrine system. Now, the exocrine system, it secretes, it transports secretion pretty much by the duct that I just showed you. And it transports this secretion or transport this secretion to the body part that needs it. We refer to it as a target area, right? Now, they transport it directly to the target area. Now, some examples that you know, tell me them in the chat. Tell me about that duct system that you know. Where is my friend? Amoy. Amoy, you know anything about that duct system? I could give you one. Let me give you one. I really don't like to put kids on the spot. So we could talk about the tear gland. What is happening? That happened just now, but just now my screen went blank and then it came back and then it went away and came back. But I am still here. All right, bile is secreted by a duct. Interesting. Sweat gland by a duct. Salivary gland. I'm not too sure connectivity. I'm not too sure I'm not too sure what I should understand from that. All right, so we spoke about tear gland. Now we have salivary gland, and there's one I want us to look at. Bile is a good one. There's one that I want us to look at, which is the pancreas. Something is going wrong with the feed. I really don't know what's happening, but something is happening. The pancreas. I want us to look at the pancreas as an exocrine gland, but the pancreas is also an endocrine gland. I'm not too sure what is happening. I'm having problem with my feed. Guys, can you hear me? Is it fine on your side? Because on my side, it's not fine. So examples of the exocrine system would be like the tear gland. We spoke about it secreting tears to the eye. We have the salivary gland, which secrete fluid to the mouth. And of course, we have the pancreas, which is of course both exocrine and endocrine, as the pancreas is secreting pancreatic juice directly into the duodenum. So to the bile duct. All right. So there we have it. For the exocrine system, there's not much more to know about it at CXC. We can take that. We're going to up into the one that is pretty much big on your syllabus, which is, of course, the endocrine system. So now we said that remember we said that the exocrine system is a duct system. Yeah, I realize. Yeah, I'm freezing from this side. I think it's fine now, but I know that I was freezing. I was seeing it on my side. I'm very sorry. I'm not too sure what is happening. All right. All right, cool. All right, it's fine now. It seems that it's fine on my side. I'm not too sure what is happening. All right, but we are going to go until well, we have quite a distance to go. The content that we have is quite a distance. All right, so we're looking now at the endocrine system. Now, unlike the exocrine system, the endocrine system is a ductless system. The endocrine system is a ductless system. What it means is that it has no straw like a balloon and have a straw attached to it. It secretes hormones directly into the bloodstream. Now, it's important to note that the endocrine system controls growth and, of course, development. Now, the endocrine system has pretty much glands that we call endocrine glands. And the glands are, like I said, they are ductless. And of course, secretion from these glands are going to diffuse directly into the bloodstream. Now, the glands has many many blood vessels to transport and to allow for diffusion of hormones to take place. So they are really interwound here. So they really have a network of blood vessels flowing around them so that that hormone can diffuse into the blood vessel and as quick as possible, though not as quick as the nervous system, to get it to the point where it wants it to go. Of course, by now we have established that the endocrine system produces hormone, and of course, the many glands. They have many glands, and these many glands, they are producing different types of hormone. It's important to know that the hormone is, of course, produced in small amount, and of course, is transported to the target site by the blood. So the blood is also carrying the hormone. Let us not think that the red blood cell is the blood or the white blood cell is the blood. I like to refer to the blood as we would refer to air. Air is pretty much a mixture of gases, and so too hormones. Sorry, so too blood is pretty much a mixture. So air is a mixture, hormone is a mixture, just the same. So now that we have established the foundation for the endocrine system, I'm just going to make known some glands and the hormones that are associated with them. And I might just show you on a diagram in the exam where it would indicate that these glands are. Now we're going to start off with the pituitary gland. And in most exams, you're going to see a labeling coming to the forehead here, the pituitary gland. It is also called the master gland. Now, though the hypothalamus is not one of the endocrine gland, it's like a manager for the system. It takes care of what is happening. But the major gland here that we have is the gland that we refer to as the pituitary gland. And on the exam paper, if you see something coming to the forehead, that is going to be your pituitary gland. Now, some of the hormones that are associated with the pituitary gland are going to be like your growth hormone, your ADH, your follicle stimulating hormone, your luteinizing hormone, and of course, the thyroid stimulating hormone, which is referred to as TSH. So we have antidiuretic hormone, which is ADH, follicle stimulating hormone, which is FSH, luteinizing hormone, which is LH, and of course TSH, which is of course a thyroid stimulating hormone. So you understand there that the entire system pretty much is somewhat controlled by the pituitary gland. Then we have, after we would have left the pituitary gland here in the stomach, and I'm not going to be touching the parathyroid, when you get to the throat region here, we are going to have the thyroid gland. And the thyroid gland is responsible for the secretion of a hormone we refer to as thyroxine. Thyroxine. All right, so right, the throat area here, we are going to have the thyroid gland, which is of course responsible for thyroxine. You want to stay with us as we talk a little bit about goiter later in the lesson. Then there is the adrenal gland. And the adrenal gland is just, on the exam paper, it's going to be somewhere here, right above the kidney. You'll see the lines coming here, the labeled line coming to the adrenal gland, somewhere here, and you will have the pancreas coming somewhere across here, somewhat a longer organ you'll see coming across, looking something like a leaf, one of those is it Julia East Indian mango leaf? One of those longer leaves. It looks something like that. So we have the adrenal gland, and the adrenal gland is, of course, secreting adrenaline. All right. And adrenaline, remember, is that fight or flight hormone. And we're going to be talking more about the hormones as we go deeper into the lesson. Then we have the pancreas, which we established earlier that it is both duct and ductless gland. It is a duct gland when it is secreting pancreatic juice. So at the point where the pancreas is secreting pancreatic juice, then it is a duct gland. At the point where it is secreting insulin, it is a ductless gland. Let me hope that you have the distinction here. Then, having looked at the pancreas, we are now going to go down to the gonads, and most times they are using one diagram to represent male and female. So somewhere right here, you are going to be seeing the ovaries, and the ovaries are going to be responsible for estrogen and progesterone. All right. So the ovaries are going to be responsible for estrogen and progesterone. You might or might not see the testes, but if you don't see the testes, they might label that same place where the ovaries are for testes. Now the testes, they are responsible for the secretion of testosterone. That is the hormone that is associated with the testes. So the testes is associated with testosterone. The ovaries, they are associated with progesterone and, of course, estrogen. Are we doing well? Do we need to get ourselves a drink of water? All right, so fetch yourself a drink of water, and then we're going to be looking at the hormones as we go deeper into the lesson. And of course, we're going to end the lesson by making a comparison between the nervous system and, of course, the endocrine system. That is very important. If you have been working the past papers, you would have seen that that is usually on almost all the past papers. So this is something that we want to have, I like to say, locked and loaded. So I hope that you are back with your water and you are ready to go. We're going to start with the pituitary gland, which is called the master gland. We're not going to be going deep, 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 deep in. We're just going to be looking at it, as it were, for the C6 syllabus. And tell you what, I'm going to be stepping back and giving you some time to do it yourself. So where is the pancreas again, sir? All right, so I showed it, and pretty much it's like a diagram. It's not an exact thing. I showed it coming pretty much like across here. If you look at your past paper, it looked like I think it's probably an East Indian mango leaf or something like that. It looked like that little leaf thing coming across. Now, if you don't know where it is, you could just look at a diagram of the digestive system, or you could go on over to hormone. It would fall right after the nervous system, and you might see a diagram that shows pretty much the pancreas. Sir, how many do they have in all? How many what? How many what? Atisha, one of the things that we have to recall is that we are working with a syllabus. And what we tend not to do is to go out and touch things that are not really relevant as such. If we don't think that it's going to be relevant or you should know it, you really don't touch it. But there are others that we could look at. We could look at probably the parathyroid. We could look at what we call the thymus and all those stuff. But that is not, I don't see that on the syllabus. I've never seen that on a paper. But of course, if you see it in your textbook, you could probably read on them. All right? There are many glands. That's the best answer I could give you now. As to say that there are 10, 12, 13, 14, I really can't tell you that. I really can't tell you that. All right? Because when we talk about glands, we're going to talk about duct and ductless gland. All right? It has never even crossed my mind to even check on that. I'm very sorry. I can't attach a number to that. But if somebody in the class can, please attach a number to the number of glands. I really can't attach a number to that. I'm very sorry. All right. And Otisha, might I also ask, are you asking about how many exocrine gland, how many endocrine gland, how many you are supposed to know for the exam? What is it exactly you want me to address? Because if I can't address it now and it is something we can find in time, we will get it for you for the next class. Right? So just tell us, and I will assist you with the research to see if the information is out there, and you can see the information that we need to use. You know, I like some information, forgive me. In some cases, some information, I start to deal with them later. All right? So you're going to tell me now what is the function of the growth hormone. All right? So the growth hormone is one of those hormones that is secreted by the pituitary gland. And of course, the pituitary gland is considered to be the master gland. So I want you to tell me what is the function of a growth hormone. I want you to tell me if we have too much growth hormone, what is likely to happen. And I want you to tell me if we have too little growth hormone, what is likely to happen. All right. So Grace saying, oh yes, how many we have to know. Oh, that's the question you want to know. The ones I outlined now are the ones that you are supposed to know. I will check on the syllabus again to make sure. The ones I have always seen on the exam paper, I will name them. It is the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the adrenal gland, the pancreas, the ovaries, and of course the testes. These are the common ones I've seen on the paper. I've never seen the thymus or the parathyroid. I've never seen those. But if your textbook have it and you want to look at it, it wouldn't hurt if you know them. All right. So the growth hormone is supposed to stimulate growth and development. Is there any other response? Guys, please take part in the discussion. You're here to learn. I remember that we also learn from wrong expression or expression that we are not accepting. It might not be something wrong, but it's not pretty much on the syllabus, so we don't bother push persons over there. All right. So Didi is saying, and she's saying this from all the way in Trinidad, that it stimulates growth and development. Gray is saying that increase in size, and she's saying this from all the way in Guyana. Good evening, Teach. Good evening. Cardis, are you a teacher or a student? That is sort of a strange name to call Teach. That is like a colleague name, you know, but it's fine. It's fine. Whatever you say is fine. All right. So now that we know two persons decide to assist us, the function of the growth hormone, the other thing to answer, if we have too much of this growth hormone, what is likely to happen to the individual? Or what condition? That's where the protein takes its part, the child, in children, for cell and bone growth. I'm not too sure about that, Didi. I'm not too sure where you're going with that. But just make that stay a little bit. I soon treat with that. I think you're talking about something about thyroxine there. It starts to look a little more thyroxine-ish to me. All right, growth hormones stimulate the production of insulin, like growth factor 1 and Lord Jesus. The internet and mashing up, man, and I start to pull some information from the internet. Oh my. Oh whoa. Woo. Mmm. Ah. It's in your book. And what it says, let me see now, Didi. That's where the protein takes its part in children for cell and bone growth. Not too sure which one you're answering, but I'm going to go down the road where I think we should all go. It is, of course, true that the growth hormone is responsible for growth. And growth is going to be that permanent increase in size and some other stuff. But let us deal with growth as size. The question is, if you have too much growth hormone, what is likely to happen to the individual, or what is the name of the condition? All right, so I'm keeping it in the syllabus. Stimulate grow by stimulating protein synthesis in cells and bone growth. Yes, that is true. But the question that we're looking at, DD, we want to find out if too much. Once you say growth, it is all right. I have too many online classes. Class start HSP. All right. All right, let me go there because it seems as if, all right, there am I come to it. Gigantism. So if you have too much growth hormone, you're going to grow big. And of course, I don't really want to call person's name, but if you watch certain movies, you will see persons that are really, really big. And probably you would have seen persons big. And other things could cause you to really grow. But too much release of that growth hormone is going to cause you to suffer from a condition we refer to as gigantism. All right? I'm sorry about that. Gigantism. So if you have too little, what is the name of the condition? So gigantism, you're giant. That is what it means. You're a giant. You're bigger than the average person in the population. All right? Good. Good. Too much will lead to gigantism. It's a bad even, it seems. And too little will, of course, lead to dwarfism. And that means that you're going to be short, little bit, miniature. All right? Good. All right, let us up on. I think that the service is really crappy, but we have to go right along. I do hope it is better when you do the replay. Then we're going to look at ADH that we have looked at many times already. And ADH is, of course, from the pituitary gland. Very good minor. It's from the pituitary gland. And ADH is associated with the reabsorption of water in the nephron, the kidney tubule there. So reabsorption of water from the filtrate. So the other things that we need to look at as they are associated with the pituitary gland is, of course, I know that persons are not liking this hormone stuff because these fancy names coming up, but just rest assured, just practice them and you'll be fine. Then we have the FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormone. Now, these, of course, stimulate maturation of the ovaries, and one could say gametes, testes, that type of stuff. In the testes. Now, the luteinizing hormone, it is, of course, going to cause ovulation. That said, you will now realize that we are going to be talking more about FSH and luteinizing hormone as soon as we get over there into reproduction. So don't worry yourself. We are going to come back to this hormone again, these two hormones again. And we did look at ADH when we looked at the kidney and the nephron. Now, the one that we are not going to, I don't think we're not going to come back to this one after today, I think, is, of course, TSH, which is a thyroid stimulating hormone, which is, of course, responsible for the thyroid. Now, the thyroid gland, we're going to look at that when we look at thyroxine. When we look at thyroxine, we are going to look at that. So in a little bit, we're going to be looking at that. But before we look at that, let us look at the one that you are familiar with, which is, of course, adrenaline. All right? So the first thing you need to know is that the adrenal gland is located on top of the kidney. And we said that earlier. I stood and I showed it to you. Now, it allows for quick response, right? Not quick response as if you are slow like Mr. Wilson, you are going to get up tomorrow and say, I'm to the Olympic because I have adrenaline, I'm going to win the 100-meter sprint. No, not that type of quick response. But when you are endangered or the body is straightened or something like that, it will quickly change glycogen into glucose. I could remember. Okay, cool. So you will quickly convert that glycogen. I'm not feeling the energy. I'm not too sure why. I don't know if it's because you're not responding. If you're not responding, I'm start a little off. I like the energy, keep me a buzz, keep me a blaze. And when you're not responding, I am sort of, am I going too fast? Am I over the head of these students? Should I stop and start over? Am I missing them? So if you see me start getting this little rocky thing, it's because I am getting this negative energy that I am missing somebody along the road. And if I'm missing you along the road, it started don't give me enough energy to move forward. Because I'm asking you to respond and persons are not responding. So it's not about just talking. It's about you understanding. And if you're not understanding, it's sort of pointless for me to just keep blabbing. All right? Because I'm here to assist you, not just to talk. All right? Cool. So adrenaline converts glycogen to glucose when you need that rapid burst of energy. As it is said, fight or flight. So if you were supposed to come in and you saw something that you're really afraid of, it, what will either happen? You are going to make a decision. Am I going to attack this thing to get it out of my way? or is it that I'm going to run from it? So running away is the flight. Fight is, as it suggests, to fight it, all right? To try and get it out, to pretty much, should I say, denature, kill, whatever, stop it, all right? So that is pretty much the fight. Now, another thing is that it is also responsible, sorry, it is also released. It is also released by nicotine. So when persons smoke, smokers, you are releasing this adrenaline into the blood. Now, one of the things that will happen is that as you keep releasing this thing in the blood and you don't need it, it will cause plaque to develop in the lumen. And when that is a little space in the blood vessel. And when that happens, is that what it means is that you are going to have smaller pathway for the blood to travel. And as the pathway is reduced for the blood to travel, of course, you are going to have higher blood pressure, right? So if you have higher blood pressure, you know what is likely to happen. It is either you are going to be having a stroke or you're going to be having a heart attack. Adrenaline is released in large amount when frightened or excited or anxious. True. True. All right, so that's it for adrenaline. I don't feel the energy. I don't like how this felt just now, but we're going to try something else for pancreas. So tell me now about the pancreas. What hormone is secreted by the pancreas? Tell me in the chat what hormone is secreted by the pancreas. And having said that, then I want you to tell me what is the role of that hormone or those hormones, whichever. So I'm listening to you as you type away. I'm waiting. So Didi is saying insulin. If you have not yet liked, share, or subscribe, it is time to do as the students are busy, very busy, working to get the answer for the pancreas. The beauty about the pancreas is that the pancreas is both endocrine and exocrine. So it's part of the endocrine system and the exocrine system. It is, of course, exocrine because it has a duct as when it is secreting the pancreatic juice. And of course, it is endocrine as hormone diffuse into the blood vessel. So DD is saying there that it maintains the blood sugar level, and the blood sugar there we refer to it as glucose. Jawawan, you're still here. I miss a lot. I'ma watch it over tomorrow. Not a problem. Sir, I'm sorry. Rain falling here, so the internet. Okay, I see. I'm very sorry. I realize that something is wrong. All right, so we were talking just now about the pancreas, and we are saying that the insulin converts excess glucose, as Didi put it there, our blood sugar into glycogen, pretty much regulating the sugar content. And then we have the glucagon, which is, of course, going to convert that glycogen back to glucose. Now, the adrenaline will do the same thing. The adrenaline will convert glycogen very quickly into glucose to provide that added burst of energy so that you can do your fight or your flight. All right, good. So pancreas out of the way. Now we are going to talk about the thyroid. Remember we spoke about TSH just earlier, the first thing. When we look at the pituitary gland, we're going to look at the thyroid itself now. All right, so the hormone that the thyroid secretes is called thyroxine. All right, and it is pretty much a hormone that could affect metabolism, right? It could also impact respiration. If it is affecting metabolism, it is definitely going to affect respiration. Now, when we have a lack of thyroxine in children, it is going to cause reduced mental and physical growth. Now, the condition or the person suffering from this condition is called a CRETIN. What do you pronounce? How do you pronounce that? Critin, critin. All right, good. From wherever you are, you might say something different. So the spelling there, if you are suffering, if the child is suffering from this lack of thyroxine, which will of course reduce mental and physical growth, then the person is called a critin or critin. I'm not too sure how you're going to pronounce it from wherever you are. And of course, this can be corrected. It can be corrected using thyroxine, that is, of course, extracted from animals. And of course, this could cure or solve that problem. No, sir, it's because it's the internet issue. So I am just taking my time to learn. All right. That's fine. And remember, you can learn on the replay. You can go to the replay. It will be online. And of course, just type in Mr. Wilson volume 34 or Mr. Wilson 34, something like that. We will put in the tag so that you can find the lessons very easy. So thyroxine controls the rate of metabolism and energy production. Yes. Adults. In adults, now it controls your personality. If you're an energizer body, it is going to be because of thyroxine. If you're a laid back, laser fear type of person, it could be as a result of thyroxine. Now, if you have too much thyroxine as an adult, what is going to have what we call an overly active gland? What is going to happen is that you are going to be an overly active individual. And of course, you are going to be that which we call a workaholic. You're always working, working. You pretty much work more than the norm, right? These individuals with this excess thyroxine, they are usually tall and thin. All right? Excess thyroxine, they are working, working, but because of this excess thyroxine, they are usually tall and thin. Remember that thyroxine is responsible for metabolism. So if we are having that increased metabolism or increased metabolic reaction, then of course you understand that the person will definitely grow a little more, right? It's just that they are not growing that way, they are growing that way. Now, if there is, of course, underactive gland, meaning that there is too little thyroxine, then it is likely that the person will be this laid back person. One might say lazy. The person might be short and the person might be on the chubbier side. All right? Because remember, what is affecting this is the metabolic rate. Now, another important thing to talk about here, or the last thing we want to talk about with thyroxine, is that thyroxine, you would have heard about iodine. Thyroxine is associated with iodine in the body. Now, if the thyroxine gland is the thyroid gland is not working well, or if there is a lack of iodine in the body, if there's a lack of iodine in the body, then the person is normally going to have a condition called goiter. Now, in order to compensate for that limited iodine, the thyroid gland will swell to increase that production. Then you end up with something at your neck, it's a little huge because of your lack of iodine. Now, I'm not too sure you could go on over to nutrition and look at what we said about iodine when we did nutrition, if you can't recall now, to see the importance of iodine in the diet and from the source from which we are getting iodine. All right, so goiter is something that is associated, yes, that is associated with the thyroid gland, and it is something that you need to know about. Now, the last thing today, we are well in line. I wanted an hour, and we're going to be out here within an hour and a half. The last thing today for us to look at is the hormonal and, of course, nervous system controller. We're going to be comparing them now. Now, having compared the hormonal coordination and the nervous coordination, we are going to have an early evening off. We can go and have, just let your shoulder down this evening. You get half an hour to just go and watch a movie, half an hour soap opera or something. You know, it can't just be work, work, work. And this was deliberate. We actually designed the show for the show to be a little shorter than the other shows so that you can go on, recuperate, just have yourself today's holiday. I think, I don't know, I think it's across the world. I think it's a Christian holiday. So those Christians who are celebrating Ash Wednesday, you can of course just have some time with family and friends this evening, be it digital or otherwise. All right, good. So we're moving now on to the comparison of the, yes, we're moving on to the comparison of the hormone versus the nervous system. Hormonal control versus nervous control. So we want to look at the message. Now, the message for hormone is sent by, we could say, organic chemicals, or we could say complex organic chemicals called hormone. Now, in the case of nervous system, the message is actually sent by impulses. And remember, we spoke about the impulse with the charge, a positive, negative charge, that type of thing. So for hormonal, the message is sent by complex, or one might say organic chemicals, while for nerves, it is sent by impulses. And we spoke about the difference in charge that cause that flow of impulse. Then for hormone, the transport mechanism is going to be the blood. For nervous system, the transport mechanism is going to be the nerves. Now, as to speed, hormone influence is usually going to be slow, with the exception of responses with adrenaline. So responses that are associated with adrenaline, those are going to be very quick. However, outside of adrenaline, the speed is going to be slow. Now, another thing is that nervous system tend to transmit the message very quickly. So hormone slow, nervous system fast. Let us look at disease. Now, disease that are associated with hormonal discharge, they are usually metabolic by nature. Now, when we have disease that are associated with the nervous system, they could cause, of course, paralysis, or they could cause mental illness. We spoke about mental illness. We spoke about strokes where the blood is leaking in the cranium and might damage blood vessels and all of that. And then, depending on the part that is affected, one might become paralyzed, or that part of the body just doesn't function well. Another thing we need to know, yes, I like what's happening there. Another thing that we need to know is that coordination. The coordination of the nervous system is as a result of the pituitary gland and to extension, the hypothalamus. Sorry. The coordination of the hormonal system, I think I made a mistake just now. The coordination of the hormonal system is as a result of the pituitary gland and by extension, the hypothalamus. Remember, the hypothalamus is not a part of the endocrine system, but it's something like a manager. All right. Now, another thing is that the nervous system is controlled by the brain. So the nervous system is controlled by the brain, while the hormonal system is pretty much managed or controlled by the pituitary gland. And I spoke about the hypothalamus. Now, the production, what causes this hormone to be produced is as a result of stimulus and, of course, that are associated or that will be picked up by the ductless glands. Now, the stimulus, on the other hand, for the nervous coordination is, of course, transmitted by the nerves, or carried by the nerves, or picked up by the nerve, but it's all around the nerve. So while in the hormone it's around the ductless gland, in the nervous system, it is around the nerves. Then we can go on now to the effect of the hormone, or the effect of the impulse. Now, the effect of the hormone is usually long lasting. The effect of the impulse from the nervous system is usually short term, or one might say it is immediate. All right. Now, having covered those, there might be others that you could look at. I don't know if there are others in your text, or you can find others. You can put them, you can look at the past paper at what is there to ensure that you have that which is required, and you are, of course, familiar with everything heading into the exam. Now that we have looked at some differences, there are some similarities that you need to know. One is that they both control activities in the body. Both the hormonal system, or both the endocrine system and the nervous system, they both control activities in the body. Now, hormones are somewhat similar to neurotransmitter. Good day, I am a Form 4 student and I am now writing my first biology lab. Would you like to know? I would like to know the proper format to write a biology lab. I'll speak to that in a bit. And the last, sorry, I get distracted. So we talk about stimulus, the screen blink, and it's something new. I just don't go over there. All right, so the last thing here we're going to be looking at is that the hormonal system and the nervous system, they pretty much control each other. So there's this coordinating effect. They have to work together in order for things to go well in the body. So Ricardo, pretty much that is the end of what we had planned for today. We were expecting, when no, where are you going to get that? Sorry. What time? I could probably go down by the mart. I'm going to be out now. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to go on the road in a bit. Just give me about 5 more minutes and I'll be on the road. We have curfew here at 8. So, you know, I have to up out every now and then to treat with some business. All right. So let me just deal with this. We're responsible for coordination. All right. Beautiful. All right. So Ricardo is asking, he's saying that he's in Form 4. That is what we call grade 10 in Jamaica. I think you're at the perfect place, sir. We would have on our channel that which we refer to as a lab report. And like we are there, I probably could just go on over and just send you some link right away. But we have all the skills. No, that's not true, Amoy. I don't have planning and design there as yet. I don't have AI there, but those will be going up shortly. But we have, of course, guide as to how to write all the labs. I tend to teach students to write a should I say, a compact lab, a lab that has all the skills in. That would mean that there is some amount of drawing skill employed, there is some amount of AI skill employed, and AI is going to be a lot around your discussion. There's ORR employed as well, and there's a little MM employed, not much though. But I'm going to be giving you the link. If it's your first time here, you want to subscribe, and of course put on your classmates. If it's your first time here, you probably want to subscribe. The internet is going very slow. You want to subscribe and come back if we're not able to answer it here. Of course, you can go onto the channel. We have a playlist called Biology Experiment. We also have a playlist called Biology Skills, and those are the skill set that will teach you how to carry out and pretty much write up the lab. But we have a video there that's something 1,000 something views as to how to write up the lab. We also have something new now, mark scheme, depending on which lab you're doing. We have a mark scheme that should be able to help you to write that lab. I was trying to give you the thing just now, but the system is going really, really slow. I'm not too sure what's happening. I'm going to be doing my best to see if someone has a faster system and can get it for this individual. That would be nice. But as much as possible, I'm going to try to get it on over there. All right. So as I wait on this, just let me just give you a little chit chat before I leave. I have about 5 minutes before I go. If you are in grade 10, then we need to talk about the SBA. And we're going to be doing that in short order. I'm going to be doing a review. I'm going to be showing persons how they can get it done. Even if we're going to be putting up a video of different system as to how to get it done. I'm going to walk through that with CXC as out there. I think the CXC did an awesome job, and I need to go through it with those persons who are not able to understand it well. I'm going to be doing that for you. As it were, biology, yeah, we have about 4 past paper lined up for you. We have not sent them out as yet, but they'll be coming out shortly. Don't worry yourself. Yes, we have 2 paper that we've worked on. Sometimes I work on a paper and I put it down a little bit, and then I go back through the paper to ensure that I pretty much made a good attempt on the paper. I try not to just push things out there. And I have a paper that the biology students are going to like. Don't ask me where I got the paper. But I have a lot of persons who love Mr. Wilson and love you guys, and they tend to just send me some papers. I've never asked where they got these papers. But they just send me some papers and I open them and I'm like, I really have this paper in my possession? Yes, we have them type of paper there. I won't say more, but we have some type of papers, and we are going to be releasing these papers. That type of paper I spoke about just now, the eye opener paper, you're not going to see it like the week for exam or the month for exam or something. We're not going to send it out as yet. We are trying our best to ensure that we don't cause any problem. Sir, I have gotten access to this year January paper. Could you send it to us, please? Please, whatever paper you have that is current, we have a paper. But I think we're having, for biology, we need past papers for biology. We have past papers for biology up to 2018. We need all the biology papers after that so that we can work them and put them out for you. We are going to put them out. That's what we do. We solve problem and we send them out, what we call extreme solutions. So we solve problem as much as we can. We send them out. We try to have a dialogue. You send back to us that this is that or that is that. You send to tell us thanks and all of that. That's what we do. All right. All right. So I'm going to find your paper now, sir. I think I am on the channel now, but it is very slow. I'm going to try to send you a link. And there we have some noise, somebody making noise outside. It has nothing to do with us. I hope that YouTube won't flag us for what we don't know about. So I'm going to give you this, and I will have to go because I can't allow us to pick up that noise in the background, or else we'll have to pay dearly for it. And I really don't want to pay dearly for it. All right. So just let me give you this, and then I am going to go. All right. So this is the video link. I really don't know who is playing that, and I am sure that it will not be as easy to, of course, get them to stop. So this is a link. You can go on over to the channel and do the rest. Thanks much for being with me this evening. That's going to be the show for this evening. Go on over to the channel and at least watch one video. Don't try to watch a video that only have 3 minutes. Try watch a half-hour video. Try watch one of the live that was before. Try watch something. I mean, that is just a little pay that you give to us, you know. You watch our videos, you comment on our videos, you send and you ask us question, and you tell us what video we are supposed to build, and we make them on that type of thing. But again, it has been my pleasure being with you. And of course, we look forward to seeing you on Friday. Come Friday, we're going to be doing something new, a new topic. We would have completed sensitivity and coordination, or as some would call it, coordination. We looked at the eyes. Sorry, I am going to look at the ears. I think I need to look at it. I'm going to look at it. All right. So until next time, take care. Friday. Bye-bye. I'm gone. Go onto the channel for anything else you want. Send me a message via email. I'll leave it in the comment and I can help you. But I have to run now. Ta-ta.